fit his person and his persona if you would be sending your drafts back to your referee before they sign it. Sometimes your referee might not, need you to send it to him again and might just put his signature on it and send it back to you. But if you can, give them enough time to review and refine it. And like I said, this is to avoid reference bias. Okay, next slide. Okay, the content, what exactly would be in your draft? This is not the standard, but this is just, the process. Yeah, it's definitely not the standard, but it is the process, and it will walk you through what exactly is expected from the admissions team or the recruitment team when you're writing your reference letter. So obviously the address of the people you are sending it to, this is your school, the school you're applying to. If you know definitely, who you should address the letter to, like the name of the director of recruitment or the director of admissions. If you know this person by name, you should include it, or you are addressing it to your department or postgraduate study in the department. Just ensure that you're addressing it to the right person in the school. And then the introduction. I wrote this might not be necessary for everyone because I meant the introduction of the referee. Sometimes your referee might want to introduce himself in the letter, just stating who he is and what he is or what he's currently doing, as a career or in his profession. And then your reference letter should also include the relationship that exists between you and the referee. This, like I was saying before, you should not have a referee as someone that you just knew in school and you did not sustain that relationship with the person because you have evolved. This person only knows you probably 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but doesn't currently know who you are or what you're doing. So if you can, sometimes we really don't keep in touch with some of our lecturers or our professors back in school. But if you can, it is better to pick someone that you've had a relationship with and you still have a relationship with that person academically. And then it should also include the personal qualities about you that align with your application. Personal qualities like if you're applying to an MBA, we are using an MBA. If you're applying to an MBA, you should have qualities that talks about the business side of you, qualities that talks about how well, you can excel in an MBA program. Personal qualities about you, academic qualities, and also things that are outside of academics, right? It should also have a bit of life into it and not just be, oh, she's just all about academics, but there should be a spectrum of something personal, not personal to your life, but something, a quality that people know about you and that is outside of academics. So then the statement of recommendation. In the reference letter is the statement of recommendation, and usually it is a paragraph, right? And this is where your referee puts your best foot forward and says, hey, this person is who she says she is or who he says he is, and this person is the right person or the right candidate for this program. And then, like I said, tailor the statement of recommendation to the application requirements. Ensure that when you're writing your draft, you have your application requirements side by side and you're following exactly what they want and what they need. And then typically just finish strong and open up your referee for further inquiry if your referee accepts so. Some referees will tell you, oh, I might not be able to accept calls or emails if they do reach out to me. But if your referee does not mind that, then open up that channel for further inquiry and communication. Okay, is everyone following?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
Next slide.
Yes, we are following.
Next slide, Martin. Okay, so we are starting. So basically what is going to be in your reference letter is who you are and what makes you different. What makes you stand out from the crowd? What is that thing about you that would make you excel in this program? What is that definite thing about you that it doesn't have to be something that no one has ever done before, but it just has to be something that is unique to you, right? And it should be something that other people have noticed and can attest to. in your life. So it's not just something that, oh, I know this about myself and this is what I'm sure about myself. No, something that other people can vouch for and say, oh, this is who Temi says she is. Yeah. And like I said, let your reference drafts include a taste of who you are when all the academic excellence is stripped away. So when we take away the fact that you're a first class student, we take away the fact that, you know, you have A's in all your courses, we take that away from you, then what is left? Who exactly are you? That's what should also be reflected in your reference letter. This is so that, especially when you're applying to Ivy League schools, majorly, you know, they also want to know who you are outside of what you are academically. They want to also know if you are able to balance, you know, balance life structures in the university. So it's very important to also include this in your reference letter. And it also shows that your referee has, you know, a working relationship with you, because it's only someone that you communicate with frequently or whatever that would, you know, be able to say something about you beyond your academics. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are starting. Like I said, please pardon the Baltimore, United Kingdom. It's habits. It's United States, but pardon that. So now this is a demo, right? Obviously. So like I said, you would address it to who it concerns. You would address it exactly to who it concerns. Don't just address it to the school, address it exactly to your department or to the director of recruitment. Most times you have this information online. For example, in my department, aside the fact that we have a department, we have a postgrad committee, we have a course committee, and you know the structure is like that. So if you are addressing it, ensure that you're addressing it to the right person. This is very, very important. So if you do not know who you are to address it to, use to whom it may concern and write the proper address of the university to the last. If it is Baltimore, write it to the city, to the state, to the, and sometimes you can even include the code. Most of this university have postcodes or zip codes that you can include. This just shows that you are very intentional about what you're doing. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so we are starting the first paragraph. Like I said, this is not the standard. This is just so you have an idea of what your reference draft should look like. And of course, I'm using myself, obviously. Dear Committee of Admissions and Recruitment, now I'm starting with, I strongly recommend this person for this program, because you want to put your referee, or you in quotes, wants to put that forward, that I'm not really writing this just because I want to write a reference letter, but I'm writing this because I am recommending this person for this program. So I believe that should be the first leg forward. Just put it out there. Of course, we know why we're writing this letter, so let it show, right? I strongly recommend Elizabeth Temiloluwa for the MBA program. I have known Temiloluwa. Ensure that the person is using your first name and not your middle name. I have known this person for a specific amount of time. Now, do not say I have known her for about 5 years or for about, don't let that about be there. Be very sure and specific about the number of years or months that you have known this person. And if it's between years, like you've known her for 6.5 years, include that, right? Be specific about the number of years you have known this person from, and then go on to discuss what was the relationship. Was he your was the referee your lecturer, and if it was your lecturer, just your lecturer, ensure you put the course he or she taught you in. If it was the director of your program while you were in school and did not teach you at all, ensure you put that in. Just put in the relationship in specific details. Don't be vague about it. No ambiguity. Put exactly what it is there and how you have, you know, maintained and sustained this relationship. So like I said, be specific, no assumptions. Discuss briefly how you have sustained the relationship after you left school. So if this person was your supervisor in school and maybe you're applying for like a research role and you have done something with, most times students that are applying for or want to go into academics usually have papers with their supervisors in their undergrad. So if that is like your line, you could say, oh, we have written 2-3 papers together, we have done this together, even after school we keep in touch, we have monthly mentorship meetings, we have weekly, you know, or we meet quarterly. Just ensure that you are showing that there is still a channel open between the both of you. Okay, someone said, I'm confused, who is supposed to write the reference letter? That's fine. Most times your referee does not have the time to write letters for everyone, because you are not the only one asking for reference letters. So this is a draft that you are writing on behalf of your referee, to give to your referee to review and sign it. So most times, for example, my scholarship application referee, I wrote it, my admissions rather, application referee, I wrote it for my referee, and he signed. Right? She reviewed it. She corrected some things like, oh no, this is not who I am, or this is not what it's supposed to be. She reviewed it and reconstructed it and signed. So most times you are going to be writing the draft, most times, and sometimes your referee might have time and say, okay, I'm going to write it for you. But then even when they do write it for you, you want to be sure that it is in line with the requirements of the school. So you would still go through it yourself and ensure that the details are correct and complete. So I hope that answers your question. I did not see the name of the person that asked that question, but please let me know if that has answered your question. Great, thank you. So like I said, your referee can also introduce himself or herself briefly. This does not apply to everyone. Sometimes your referee wants to be laid back and does not want to be out there, but that's fine. Ask questions, and that's how you know how to construct the first paragraph. So if your referee would be introducing himself or herself, ensure that it also comes in the first paragraph, that this is who I am, this is the position I hold in so school, and I'm recommending this person, right? Good. Are we following up to this point? I want to know, please. Great. Next slide, please, Martins. Okay, so this is the second paragraph. This is where your referee discusses your strong points, what makes you stand out. And your referee also, this is also important and very, I recommend this so much, that your referee also includes some reflections on your abilities. Now, your referee knows who you are, obviously, but then he would also, or she would also have thoughts about who you are, personal thoughts about who you are. And it is important that he or she, puts this in your reference letter as reflections on your abilities and what he thinks personally about who you are. So this is the example. Temi is a brilliant student. She actively commits herself to work through personal development and yada yada, whatever it is you want to put there about yourself. She makes leading her easy as she is open to correction and mindful of producing excellent results. One great quality about her is her ability to express her ideas coherently and excellently while maintaining a teachable spirit. Beyond this incredible academic achievement, Temiloluwa is able to manage. Now, this is something I did this purposely, and I just want to know if you guys are following and if you guys are able to notice some inconsistencies. If you have up to this point noticed some inconsistencies, please put it in the chat box. Let me know so I know you're following, and I also know that you are able to spot these inconsistencies when you are reviewing your reference letter from your referee. So please, I'll be looking out for that. Temiloluwa is able to manage effectively conflicting priorities without one being worse off. She volunteers. Now, I start with what I think Temi is, how she has expressed herself in school, and then what she does after school. Like, I'm talking about the fact that she's able to manage conflicting priorities. She's able to perform excellently in school while still, doing some extracurricular activities. And these are not just random extracurricular activities. Now, I'm assuming that Temi is applying, for a master's in, say, okay, putting she instead mentioning a name precisely. Okay. I would give the right answer when I just keep it coming. So I'm assuming that she's applying for a master's in, say, development or business development. So I am trying to put the qualities of her being a great leader forward. I'm trying to put the qualities of her, being someone that can be taught, someone that, for example, if you are applying for, say, a PhD, you would be under the tutelage of someone. So every supervisor would want a student that is easy to lead, right? So I'm trying to put these qualities forward, ensure that you are putting qualities that align with what you're applying for. If I was applying for an MBA, I would talk about her development, her leadership qualities. I would talk about her academic excellence. I would also talk about, things she does in relation to business and in relation to, in relation to business. So I said, she's able to manage conflicting priorities without one being worse off. She volunteers as the president of the Student Sustainable Student Group, the Red Cross, and mathematics lectures in displaced camps. I have watched Temi evolve over the years, and I'm incredibly proud of how far she has come and how much work she has put into becoming an excellent student. Now, the inconsistencies, thank you. Okay, let me check what you guys wrote in the inconsistencies. You said the name Temi and later Temiloluwa, putting she instead of mentioning her name. Can one use the same reference? Okay, yeah. Part of you guys are correct. It's actually using Temi and Temiloluwa. You shouldn't have those inconsistencies there because it can be quite confusing. For someone that is in Africa, of course, I know Temi, the short form for Temiloluwa is Temi, but then for someone else, they might not understand what you're talking about, right? So it's better to stay consistent with the name. If you are using one name, ensure that that's the name you use up until the end. And also, yes, the person that said putting she instead of using a name, in a lot of instances, it is important to keep mentioning the name of the applicant, but you might not always be able to do that in some sentence structure. So then she or he might be allowed, but it's important to keep mentioning the name so that that name sticks and they know that this, if you call someone's name many times, it's actually reflects that you and this person have a relationship, right? And that's why it's important to always mention the person's name. But the inconsistency here is I used Temi and Temiloluwa. Please ensure that you do not have those inconsistencies in your reference letter. Be consistent, be very consistent with it. If you're using your first name, stick with that. Advisable not to use your middle name, use your first name, because first name basis shows professional relationship and interaction. Okay, another thing that I try to portray here is that, aside the fact is that she has evolved, right? Temi probably, I knew her 6 years ago in school, and now from the time she was in school up until this moment, I'll get to that. From the time she has been in school up until now, what has changed? What has been different, right? She has probably changed in a lot of ways. So you want to put that in, you want to reflect that in your letter and say that this person, she was not just stagnant, she has evolved, she has become better, she's now doing this. In fact, you could include in your reference letter what you are currently doing. This also shows that your referee is keeping in touch with you, or you guys are keeping in touch with each other. Put it that, oh, she's now currently did this and that in her workplace, or whatever it is you are currently doing that aligns with the requirements of the program. Please do not put in unnecessary information that does not in any way add to your application. Like, for example, if what example can I give? If, for example, I really like, or I volunteer at the let's say the Red Cross. If, for example, I volunteer at the Red Cross is quite general. Or if I volunteer at the library, that's also general. If I volunteer, maybe just something, that is not related in any way to what I want to study. It shows that you do stuff, but it oh my sweet Jesus, sorry. Okay, it shows that, sorry about that. It shows that you do stuff. It also shows that you are mentioning something that aligns with what you're applying for. So like I said, tailor this paragraph to the requirement of the program. List out things that the program requires of you, and list out things that you do in this line that reflects your best qualities. Please do not exaggerate what you are not. Very important. So answering your question, piece, you said what happens to those of us that haven't been keeping in touch with our academic referees outside our academic work. Also, if the close referee has left the school, can they still act in that capacity? Okay, we are not assuming that you are keeping close touch with your referee outside academic work. I mean, that doesn't speak well of anyone, right? We are assuming that you are keeping in touch inside of academic boundaries. But if you have not even been keeping in touch at all, like the last time you probably spoke to your referee was when you were in school, that is fine, right? It doesn't mean that sometimes life just happens, right? It doesn't mean you cannot still use this person, but ensure that before you write your reference letter, you speak to your referee about what you currently do, and then reflects that in your letter. Talk to your referee, catch up, right? Have a catch up call or a catch up text or email if he or she has the time. Ensure that you catch up, right? And this is important in case they call. A lot of times when you go into a program, your referee might be called, right? So this is so he's not blank or he's just lost that who is this person that you're calling me about, right? So have a catch-up call, have 2-3 catch-up calls, just ensure that you catch up with this person and then reflect what you currently do in your reference letter with the approval of your referee. That's how you can go about that. And if the referee has left the school, I had a friend that had this problem. Our referee, which was the head of a department, had relocated abroad, and she still used this person, right? But she mentioned it, she stated it that this person is no longer in this institution, but we keep in touch, right? That's how you can go about it. Of course, you can still use the person, but when you're looking at best case scenarios, it's always better to use someone that is still in the university or that is still in the line of work. So he or she might not be in the university again, but still lectures, right? In whatever capacity. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, please. Okay, next slide, Martin. First, before I go into this, are we together? Are we catching up? Are we understanding? Is it flowing? Great, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is the statement of recommendation. I will reiterate again, this is not the standard. This is just a draft. Okay, so I am delighted to recommend Temiloluwa for this program. State the program, don't be vague, don't use this, that, state exactly the program that you are applying to for 3 reasons. I am confident that she's able to meet the standard of your prestigious institution. There is this technique that a lot of people use in reference letter. Oh, thank you very much. There is this technique that a lot of people use in reference letter, which is to oil the head of the recipient. Is, try to suit their ego. So, saying things like, oh, you're a prestigious institution, you're a great institution, I'm confident that she can meet the standard. You are telling them that I know you have a great standard and I know your standard is very high. I acknowledge the fact that this is a great university. I acknowledge the fact that this is an amazing institution. Rub their head, why not? I mean, see their ego. So ensure, if you want to, it's not the standard, but if you want to, it is advisable to always put in, don't just make it about you, also put in some certain qualities about the institution that you feel that you align with. For example, in my reference letter to my university has the trading floor. We have what we call the trading floor with Bloomberg, where we learn how to trade live financial market in partnership with Bloomberg. So in my reference letter, I researched my institution, of course, and I wrote, oh, Tammy told me. Now I'm writing on behalf of my reference of my referee, she told me about the Bloomberg trading floor that is in your prestigious university. And then I spoke on how that aligns with what I want to study. So I'm sure my referee is showing that he has information about the university because of what I told him, right? He has sufficient information and he knows the standard of this prestigious university. So please oil their head if you can. So I said, because now you're saying that I meet the standard of this institution. You have to tell me why I meet the standard of the institution. You have to tell me how I meet the standard. If the standard of the institution is that they only, like for example, some institutions only take first class students. So if that's the standard, you would say you meet the standard because first she's a first class student, and then state other academic your academic prowess actually, and whatever it is you have achieved academically. If you won awards in school, put it in there. Now this is big, right? If you do not have all these qualifications, it does not mean anything, right? What I'm saying is put your best foot forward. So whatever it is you have done, even if it was, please ensure you relate though. Don't put anything unrelated. Like for example, you're applying for a course in medicine and you are putting that you were the SU financial secretary. I mean, it shows that you've held great leadership position, but it doesn't align with what you're trying to study. So ensure that you're putting things that align with it. So I said, furthermore, Temi has been a worthy ambassador of our institution and has maintained high level decorum and excellence, representing us home and abroad. Temi does not fit into a box, but she's able to reinvent herself in different academic and professional environments. Yeah, now why this is important is because the academic style and teaching preferences differ across universities. In Nigeria, most times the teaching style, for example, for a postgrad is usually the lecturers and the students are very involved with each other, right? It's not an independent work. But in the United Kingdom, for example, you are basically doing more independent work in your postgrad. So it's literally like your 80% of the work is on you, and then 20% is on like what you're being taught in class. So if that is the teaching style, for someone that is coming from a different teaching style, it might be hard to adjust, you know, to the preferences of the university. So it's important that you put that you are able to adjust, you are able to adapt to situations that come in different shapes and sizes. So that's why, you know, including a hint of that, you don't have to literally put it exactly how this is, but just including a hint of that is very important. So it is with great pleasure and confidence in our ability to excel that I recommend her for the program. State the program again. Ensure you are putting that this person is recommending you. The fact that it's a reference letter does not automatically mean the person is recommending you. It has to be stated clearly that I am recommending her for this program or him for this program. Yeah, good. Are we following up to now? Yes, thank you. Okay, next slide. I think really that's basically it. And then finish strong. You don't have to always put all these ambiguous words, but literally I just put that for the sake of this slide. Ensure you finish strong. The hallmark of an excellent student, yada yada, is how much they can reproduce results in diverse environments. I'm confident Temiloluwa is the perfect example of a star student, as she has been in our university. Now, that last statement is important. It's very important to tie it back to your time in the university. You know, it's important to show this, that you were great in their university, and obviously you believe that she would be great in your university, right? So it's always important to tie it back in whatever shape of structure you want to put that. You don't have to place it like this, but in whatever structure you want to put it, ensure you are tying it back to the university you're coming from and the one you're going into. Now, open up the communication channel like I talked about. You know, say you are available to discuss more for further questions and inquiries. You know, put the details, full details of your referee, email, websites. Most times, some schools, the lecturers, the teachers have websites or departments hosted websites. So if they do have that, put the website. This just gives the school the opportunity to research about your referee. And it also ties it back to the first slide where I said, ensure you pick the best out of the best crop, right? So if your referee is your head of department, obviously he or she should have a website. I'm just saying, I don't know how that works, but he or she should have a website, and then they would be able to research, about your referee, the accomplishment and the achievements of your referee. So this also brings me back to the first slide where I said your referee does not necessarily have to introduce himself if he or she doesn't want to. But if you have something like a website, hosted by the department or a personal website, you can put it in there. They are able to, they would make these inquiries. Be rest assured that they would not just see your referee's name and just accept it that, okay, this is this person. No, they would research about this person, be very much assured of that. They would do that. And in most cases, they will call or send a mail. So ensure you put the right, correct details. I have had I've had a story of someone missing numbers in the referee number, and they couldn't call the referee for a while, and they wanted to call. They sent email that they couldn't call, actually. So it felt quite embarrassing that there was a wrong number in the reference letter. So be sure to double check the reference letter and put the code, the country code, if you're applying to a university not in the country you are leaving. So put the country code and everything else. Yeah. Last slide, I think. Okay, yeah. So I said you can have another professor or lecturer who sign your letter of recommendation. Now, this is not common, but this is very great. For example, if your referee is the HOD, but he never taught you, right? He never taught you anything during your years in school, you can have someone else that taught you to co-sign it. Now, this person is not writing anything again. The person is just co-signing the reference letter, and you ensure you include the full details of this person there. This just boosts your credibility, actually, and shows that you have a working rich network in your university. Basically, that's all. It's not for everyone. If you don't want to do it, or if you feel you don't have anyone to co-sign your reference letter, that's fine. But if you can afford that, and if your referee, that's the main referee, accepts this, of course, please have a co-signed author or a co-signed referee to your reference letter. Yeah, last slide. Okay, so go smash that application, you global giants. I wish you guys all the best in your application, and I hope that with these slides you have an idea on how to write a very good and amazing reference letter for your applications. So if you have any questions, please ask them now in the chat, or you can unmute your mic if you can. Okay.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. That was fantastic. We have a question in the WhatsApp group, so I'm going to read it out while I put up the announcements and call up Ifechi to take announcements. The question reads, just a moment. The question reads, the person is asking, what is the best way for Chevening and other scholarships? Number one, the balance between professional and academic referees, that is one of each. The person says both is okay. It says, if I have an old reference, let's say from the very person I want to write one for me, can I just inform them I'm going to use it for a different use? I think this is the person's question, actually. If I have an old reference, let's say from a person I want to write for me, can I just inform them that I'm going to use it for a different use? For example, one created for university and edited for Chevening application. Can I do that with my reference? That's the question.
Okay, so first, to answer the last question, I'm going to use an example. For my school applications, because I applied to 3 universities. For my school applications, obviously, my referees did not have time to be writing 3 different applications for me. So I just informed them that I would edit this reference for my other universities, if that's fine with them, and they accepted it. So what I just did was I edited it to fit the universities I was taking it to. So I used one reference letter for 3 different universities, but it wasn't the same content, right? But they had their signature on one. They have already signed it and they have sent it back to me. I can't keep going back to say, okay, I have another one, sign this, sir. I have another one, sign this, sir. No, I just took that letterhead that had their signed signature and I kept re-editing it for my other applications. That was what I did. But you have to get the approval of your referee because you are carrying their signature, so it must be approved. Now, concerning the Chevening, on a personal recommendation, first, I would advise to first of all go through the Chevening website again to reconfirm this because I don't know if anything has changed. But on a personal recommendation, I recommend you use 2 professional references if you can. Yeah, 2 professional full references if you can. But if you cannot, and the dynamics of your situation is just so, so different that you do not have 2 professional references, then you can use 1 professional, 1 academic. But it is strongly advisable to use 2 professional references for your Chevening application. This is because Chevening requires you to have 2 years of work experience, and that means that after your university, you have been in the markets, in the labor market for at least 2 years. So you should have built some form of networks that you should have at least 2 people that can recommend you. Now, what I would also say is don't take referee or recommendation letters from your colleagues. That is a no. That is a big no. From someone that is your colleague, you guys were on the same level, please don't do that at all. It should be from your boss, your supervisor, someone that was supervising your work. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. There is another question. Is e-signature allowed? Tell me, we can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Yes, sometimes most documents are e-signed, but it shouldn't be signed by name. What I mean is some e-signed signatures, the signature is the name of the person. No, it should be an actual signature. So if you can get this person to maybe sign on a paper and then you scan it and just copy it, and you're able to do that, I think you can do that another way. Then you can use an e-signature, but it shouldn't be an e-signature with name, e-signature with an actual signature. So yes, you can do that. Cheniva says, okay, thank you to Cheniva. My question is, can we use our old reference letters from last year, or is it advisable to tailor it? Of course, it's advisable to tailor it. You are not the same person you were last year. This is what we are assuming, that you have somehow evolved and gotten better at your craft, or you are now better at what you do. So it might not be so much of refining because it's the base of who you are, but you should refine it to be better at least. Yeah. I applied to 13 universities, and for the Chevening Alum, 13 universities. Ooh. My references, 2 professional reference, wrote 14 letters. Wow. I actually gave them the 14 draft and they only had to copy and paste and sign. Amazing. Amazing.
Okay.
Odogo application. Well done. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any more questions for Madam Elizabeth before she takes her leave? Is that a long day? Timmy, in the chat box, they said they enjoy the texture of your voice and the content.
Yeah, I said thank you.
That you're very good at giving information. I'm saying
thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. Thank you. What about the dates?
Okay.
Can I be the one changing the dates? Of course. Of course. Please ensure you are changing the dates, and your reference letter should not be one that you wrote. You're applying for something in September and the person wrote it in June. Please ensure that you are changing the dates to the current date of the time you're applying. That's just it.
Just one sentence in conclusion in addition to what you said. If you're applying for several programs, your references should be how fit you are for each program, and they should be different based on the requirements of different program. Like an MBA program is different from an MSc in global health, global mental health, right? So Temis University is excess, not success.
Yeah, my university is Essex, but I had an admission from Sussex. So what is your question, Andrew? Just let me know. You can always send me a message or a mail, anything you want. I would be glad to reply.
All right. Okay. So Ifechi it's your turn. Can you please put the hands together for Temi?
All right, thank you very much. Take care.
All right, Temi. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. Can we confirm you can hear me?
Yes, I can confirm that I can hear
Yes, we
you.
can hear you.
All right. I'm sorry I can't put on my camera at the moment.
That's fine.
Thank you all for joining the session and for staying through till now. As you can see on your screen, we have some activities lined up for the coming week. That's the week starting from tomorrow, Sunday. And I really want to appreciate us for putting in the effort to um, submit our tasks, to engage on the group, and also be very cooperative. We're doing amazing. So for next week, we'll be going into essays and a lot of that. And it's going to be next week is going to be very intensive. We'll be having some tasks on the group, some group exercises too. But then you have the schedule to guide you. As you can see on the schedule on the screen, on Monday, we're expected to read two two chapters. That's chapter 6 to 8 of the book Graduate Admissions by Donald Alsha. There's a link to the book on the curriculum, so just go through it and just keep up with us. Also, in the comment section, we'll be sharing an attendance code. Now, this code, you're going to use it to fill an attendance form, which I'll be sharing on the group after this session. It's very important that we attend these sessions. We are very, very particular about that. So we'll be sharing an attendance code. And when I share this form with us, please ensure to impute this code correctly, as it's the only sign or it's the only way that we can actually confirm that you attended these sessions. And we are open to questions. If you have any questions, just do well to drop it on the group and we'll give you feedback. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. So as you already heard, you have assignments this week, you have readings to do and videos to watch. And we want to apologize for taking 26 extra minutes of your time because this session was scheduled for 6 to 8 p.m. West African time. My brothers in Sierra Leone, Namibia, etc. Apologies for that. By the end of tomorrow, we'll be making a very sad announcement. Some people will be leaving us because they will not be continuing with us. I also want to put that there. You would find out tomorrow who is not continuing. Okay, anyway, having said that, the code for, okay, if it already dropped it, the code is CAB 004 004, CAB 004. This code is not to be dropped on the WhatsApp group. This code is for those of you who joined the call, and that's the code that the form will be requiring. Okay. Without any further announcements, we've come to the end of today's session. The code is in the chat box. The code is in the chat box. Check the chat box. CAB 004.
The form. How are we going to receive the form?
The form will be sent here as well and also on the WhatsApp. So the form can be shared on the WhatsApp. So your assignment for the week is read the chapters, do the brainstorming exercise. We're going to share with you brainstorming exercises, prepare your square essay draft, identify your referees and start contacting them as soon as possible, and then start to write the draft on your personal statement. Tomorrow, we're going to start writing Chevening essays. We're going to write leadership essays tomorrow. So you need to come fully ready, get like a full bottle of water, one pack of biscuits or gala, for those of you who like gala. And then see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night. Is there anything else I'm missing? I hope not. I hope not. Thank you all so much for joining tonight. Enjoy the rest of the night. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Okay. Good night. I'm going to stop the recording. Yep.